The ones for sale, the cheapest one is 11.5 Ethereum, which is 25,000 USD. Insane. What's going on, guys? Matt here from DCLblogger.com. I'm going to be talking about Axie Infinity, trying to break down the madness. They've done a crazy $126 million in sales over the last 30 days. And in the last 24 hours alone, $9 million. So it's blowing up like crazy. Eclipsed pretty much every other NFT project out there. And it's a very interesting case study, at the very least, into how people are using blockchain technology, gaming, and NFTs and cryptocurrencies and all these sort of assets to intertwine and create an economy and a gameplay that's lasted, 3 years. Axie Infinity did a pre-sale 2018, I believe, and now in 2021, and they've been running strong for 3 years plus. So let's dive in to figure out what the heck is going on. Last 24 hours, $9 million worth of sales over Axie lands, Axies themselves. You can see that people can buy lands and items and bundles and all sorts of things. Then you got the stats on Crypto Slam. But if you kind of rewind it back a little bit, maybe explain a little bit what Axie Infinity is. Basically, it's a game at the moment where you can battle 3 Axies versus another 3 Axies and battle it out. And as you win, you progress on the ladder. You can do adventure modes, you can do all sorts of things, and basically it's a game that is a mix between Pokemon and Tamagotchi style sort of gameplay. Started off with this pre-sale, so this is an interesting nostalgic shot. I remember this in 2018, looking at this and passing on it, because I was land obsessed back then. 3,112 Axies were adopted. So what you could do back in the day when they were doing their pre-sale, you could adopt an Axie. So you can adopt a beast Axie, an aquatic Axie, a plant Axie. And these prices actually started at a floor of, if I can find the image. Yeah, this is a video from Psychout that he did on March 2018. But you can see that the floor back then, I think they may have started at 0.01 Ethereum. And so, eventually, as it became 3,112 Axies were adopted, or it got to this sort of a number, the cheapest you could buy was 0.4 Ethereum. So you could get either a beast, aquatic, or plant. Seems like fire, water, plant, Pokemon style thing going on here. And then each Axie had the chance of getting different parts. So again, going back to Psychout's videos. Oops, this is not Psychout. Where is he? Where'd he go? There he is. So you can see here, so Psychout just unlocked one of the beast Axies. So here we go. It's opening. It's got some nice animation. That's the Axie he's got. It has different parts. So it's got a gecko part, a nutcracker part, tiny fan, Trump. Each one is different. So it's got the Trump hair. It's got like the Ronin back thing. It's got like a bird tail. And all of these eventually related to the different attacks that you had and the combinations when these Axies battle each other. So now what the gameplay looks like once they release the gameplay, and it looks like this. So based on which items you have, you get a set of cards, and each card has attack and defense, and some poison, some stun, etc. And then you battle it out 3 versus 3, kind of in Hearthstone style. You set your moves, your opponent sets his or her moves, and then when it's their turn, they kind of battle it out based on who's faster, who's tankiest, and all those sorts of things. So now it's come to a stage where it's this sort of a game where people can battle each other. And the cool thing is that you can earn SLP tokens, so you can earn cryptocurrencies that have value. And if you go to the SLP chart, I believe this is the Axis chart. So let's go to SLP, Smooth Love Potions. You earn these SLP tokens, and then you can use these SLP tokens to breed more Axies, and then you can sell those Axies, and that's what's kind of going on. So that's the kind of initial gameplay. It started off with people buying Axies, and they started to battle each other, and then different Axies started to be better against different strategies. So people started to put more value on certain Axies with certain moves, etc. And that's how this market started to have value. So again, going back to this madness, if you look at the last 24 hours, you can see the the recent sales that are happening, right? The recently sold, and you can see literally every second or minute, there's like 10, 15, 20 Axies being sold. It's madness. It's madness considering the fact that Axies themselves are unlimited supply cap. People aren't buying these to collect them. No one's buying Axies to collect them, or at least the floor Axies. People are buying them to utilize them in gameplay. And this is the difference between an NFT project that just dropped something as collectibles. For example, Axie Infinity could have just dropped those adoption Axies and then people would have forgotten about it. Would those mystics have value now? Probably not. Most likely they would have zero value. But the fact that they went ahead and created a game, an economy where you can battle each other and then kind of win SLP tokens and basically run a sustained living wage in some countries. Some people are earning $200 to $300 a month, which is a lot of money in the Philippines, a lot of money in India, a lot of money in certain countries where people have to work very hard for money. So suddenly there's so much demand, and that's why I think long-term utility projects make a lot of sense. Anyway, let's go back to how we were going. So the pre-sale ended. 3,112 Axies were adopted. 3,388 Axies were born. 253 Axies have not been opened yet. So it looks like there's some sort of difference there. But around 3,000 were adopted. Okay, cool. And then I guess gameplay building started. And then people started to build, and the developers started to make the game, etc., and the rest is history. But what's interesting now is that when you bought your Axie or adopted your Axie, you had a chance of any of your parts being mystic. First of all, let's remove this filter. And you can see that there's 1.3 million Axies out there at the moment. If you refresh this tomorrow, that number will probably increase by another 10 or 20,000 just because so many people are breeding Axies. 1.3 million Axies at the moment. At the start, however, there were only 3,100-ish Axies, right? So you can see all of these Axies that you could have adopted, all of them have an origin tag. So they're kind of a collector thing now, where origin Axies kind of makes you look like an OG. As more people get involved in this space, origin Axies are going to be super rare. Now, not only are these rare, but they had a chance. So if you plucked any of those or adopted any of those Axies in the early days, then they had a chance of rolling a mystic part. A mystic part is where any of the 6 parts of your Axie is a mystic, and I believe they can evolve into different parts in the future, and they can give you maybe a stats bonus. But at the moment, they're kind of a collector thing where you can own a mystic part. So if you look at the cheapest mystic available Axie, this is all. So there's about 1,000 mystic Axies. The ones for sale, the cheapest one is 11.5 Ethereum, which is 25,000 USD. Insane, right? But if you look at the parts or the Axies that have a minimum 2 mystic parts, there's only 16 of them for sale. I believe there are 173 that were rolled. So 173 available all up. There's only 16 for sale. It looks like the cheapest is 35 Ethereum. If you go to the ones that have 3 mystic parts, the cheapest one is 370 Ethereum. The crazy thing is that they have actually sold for numbers this ludicrous. I believe a 4 mystic part sold for like 200, 300 Ethereum. And it's just insane, right? Like some of these have become collector parts. For example, there's a 4 mystic Axie, and there's only 3 in the whole Axie universe that are 4 mystic parts, and one's listed for $7.5 million. If it's going to sell for that, who knows? But the fact of so many people coming in to play the game is going to drive utility and demand, as it has been doing. So if you search Axie Infinity in YouTube, you're going to get a ton of videos. And the interesting thing is many people from the Philippines that are getting in and making videos on how they're earning money to play Axie Infinities, and they have a ton of views. You can see 75,000 views, 117,000 views, 18,000 views. And this is, I guess, a game going mainstream, not just because it's fun to play, but because you can earn money playing it. And that's the difference between what blockchain gaming is offering to people, is that your time spent having fun and doing what you love, no matter how skilled you are at it, translates into an income. So that's interesting. You can see people basically having their lives changed in the Philippines and different countries. Now, I wanted to make this video to cover the economics and what it's doing. So that's the gameplay. That's how the game works. And in the future, you can kind of Axie Infinity land gameplay. You can, it's going to look like this. So not only can you play that game, but you can go into your land, Lunacia, and go battle monsters or chimeras and set up items and stuff and do all sorts of different things. So there's like a land gameplay that's coming with this later on. At the moment, just as it is, 3 versus 3, it's kind of blowing up. But it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Now, how are people making money with this? Well, first of all, people are making money doing the basic stuff, playing the game. As you play the game, you kind of earn SLP tokens. So what this guy's doing over here, so every time he wins, 2 love potions, 4 love potions, SLPs, small love potions. So as you keep winning these SLP tokens, and SLP tokens have value in, well, I guess they're called smooth love potions here for some reason. But basically, they're selling for 0.13 Ethereum. Oh no, dollars. So they have value, and so I guess people can play the game to earn SLP tokens, and then suddenly there's an economy because Axies with different configurations are more better in gameplay, and based on which strategy you're playing. Maybe you want to play tank, maybe you want to play ones with, you want to poison people over time, or etc, etc. So different Axies are starting to have different value, and that's what's going on. So that's why there's insane demand. But one that's kind of I guess pushed this project over the edge really has been that people are starting scholarship programs, and scholarship programs are basically getting people that want to get involved to play Axie Infinity, giving them 3 Axies to play with, giving them an account, giving them 3 Axies to play with, and saying, hey, I'll take 30% or 20% of the revenue you generate every day playing Axie Infinity. So if you get someone earning $10 a day, maybe they give you a couple of bucks, and suddenly you're making passive income. And what's happening now is people are running these scholarship programs in the thousands, and some people have like tens of thousands of people that are playing these games for them, playing Axie Infinity, and giving them a small share of the pot, right, over the day. So the people playing them in these countries getting $8, $10, probably more than that in some cases, USD per day, are making great money in their countries. Those that are giving them Axies to play for free are also making good money because they're making tools and stuff for those sort of projects, or like they're making smart contracts so you can rent them, and helping a lot with the education and building this whole database so that people can come plug in, play the game, earn money, etc, etc. So that's why Axies are going like, that's why the floor is getting bought up like crazy, because people are buying them to give 3 to people in different countries to play and then add to the scholarship base. There's that, and I've heard some stories where people are making 40K a day. I know, seems ludicrous, right? 20K a month, $1 million a month. Organized bodies are making like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month managing scholarship programs. So it's not small money. That's going on. Obviously, you can play and win it yourself. Then you can breed Axies, and you can see people are breeding a ton of Axies. I know people making like thousands of dollars a day breeding, special Axies. Based on which parts you have, you may have like a couple of Axies that have already really good, valuable parts, and basically you just keep breeding them against each other, so they also become valuable. They also have rare parts, and then you breed them against each other, etc, etc. So that's going on. People are, what else is it? They are investing in Axie items and land, so you can buy land. You can see the cheapest sort of mystic land, and you can get forest land and arctic land and land that's connected to the center area and all sorts of things. But even this is gone up heaps. I remember the cheapest Savannah land was 0.05 Ethereum back when I bought some 2 years ago. I ended up selling it for a little bit of a profit. I wished I held it, but I didn't. But 0.05 Ethereum back then. Now I think the cheapest one is 1.4 Ethereum. Again, demand is increasing for this space, right? So you can make money investing in items and lands and all sorts of things, collecting in early Axies, so the origins or the mystics, or playing the game, running scholarship programs. And basically it's kind of, again, it's a case study for me and other people watching this space. It's an amazing case study of how a sustainable game, a play to earn model can work, with people that want to get involved to play the game, they can go play the game. People that want to invest, they can go invest in the early items that will not make them stronger, but they're scarce, so they have value. People that are buying these for running revenue businesses, they're doing that, and I think it's just amazing what's going on, what Axie Infinity's been able to do. All right, so if we were to continue, we can see that on Jan 1st, they had 15,700 daily active users. Now they have 295,000. I think they're going to probably hit 1 million in a month or two easily. But that's an interesting tweet to show the progress of the game. The breeding fee has been updated, so it costs now 4 Axis tokens as opposed to 2 Axis tokens to breed an Axie. And that gives demand for the Axis token, which is interesting because there's a difference between the Axis token and the SLP token. The SLP token is what you need to, I believe it's needed to breed as well. So I think now you need SLP and Axis token. Haven't played this game for a while. Axis token is like the main one that they use to across their ecosystem. So it's their governance token. You use them to, they use it to fund their DAO-based treasury. That's going to be used to invest and do all sorts of things. Here's a roadmap. They've done land and items migrate to Ronin. So Ronin was a big deal. It's their own chain that they use now with frictionless trading, and that's why things are just so quick. They're not held back with gas fees. Q4 2021 land gameplay community alpha. Early 2022 Access ecosystem begins governance play to earn mainstream release of Axie Infinity on iOS, Android. To think it's already so big without being on iOS and Android makes it's kind of bonkers thinking how big it is going to be when it is traded on that. You can see here someone set up a play-to-earn finance website, sort of a scholarship program breakdown of their scholarship program. I kind of know the people who have started this. Xhuman, co-founder of play-to-earn finance. Xhuman, I know, has been very busy in the Axie Infinity space, so congrats to him starting a website and starting a scholarship program for people, for scholars that want to play Axie Infinity. But I just showing you guys how this works, right? Like people are starting proper businesses on scholarship programs. And then if you search, this is a really cool breakdown someone made on how much money you can earn with SLP tokens. So you can see minimum daily wage versus region versus Axie Infinity. So people earning X amount. Oh, wait, here's Axie Infinity, how much people are making a day. And these are the different regions, how much people make in Philippines, I believe. Yeah, I think it's the Philippines. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. There was a little bit of a breakdown here as to how much you could make. Where are you? Here we go. So Axie Infinity questing. Just to win 10 battles in adventure mode, you get 25 to 100 SLP. That alone is like $10 or $5 to $10. Win 5x in the arena PvP. So you win 5 PvP matches, you get around 35 SLP. Reward for finishing the 3 daily quests. So you finish the daily quests, you get 50 SLP. Average SLP earned per day, 100 to 200 SLP, which is $10 to $20 USD. That's a ton of money, right? That's like 300 to 600 USD earned per day, per month. In some of these countries is a lot of money. And then you go and play more PvP matches if you want to earn more money. But you can just see how it's kind of revolutionary in certain countries, and it's just blown up because of those reasons. What else do we have? We have this really interesting tweet. Team Secret, the esports team. I believe they played Dota. I know them from Dota. They played Dota 2 on the big leagues. And they tweeted saying, all right, let's farm some small love potions on Uniswap. It's pretty crazy to think that they've tweeted on Axie Infinity, to think where these guys began and where they are now. And this is the difference between long-term projects in the NFT space and those that are building back in the day. Now, if you're an investor looking at early projects and throwing your money at collectible projects that seem cool, again, if they don't have a long-term plan, they're just going to disappear. If they do have a long-term plan to integrate across all these spaces, they're going to be something, and who knows how big they're going to get. It looks like there is absolutely demand to play the game. There absolutely is demand to play for money, play to earn, and it's just going crazy because it is hitting the right spots. So yeah, guys, that's about it. Basically, wanted to cover the fact that people are making a ton of money economically within the Axie Infinity game in many, many different ways. There's not just, you play the game, you win some money. There's so many business models being found here, and the team seems to be very specific in designing the model so that it's sustainable, so they can make sure that people keep breeding it at a rate that is sustainable. The breeders have value, the Axies have value, the Mystics have value. The game keeps growing at a user base. The user base keeps growing. I find it very interesting that they can sustain a project, because if you think about the early collectible projects, they sell out 10,000. Okay, great. What's next? How do you onboard the next 10,000? They're not just going to buy, they're not going to keep buying from the secondary market, because eventually these early collectible projects, they're going to go to prices of, say, $20,000, $30,000 each. You're going to price out a big part of the community that's just going to not want to get involved because they can't. They don't have the money to. But if you have a game like this where it's separated, where the Mystic Axie or the people that want to invest, they can go and do that. But then those that want to play the game, they can also do that with, a $200, $300 budget. They can also compete at a level that's fair, because there's so much strategy to the whole thing. So separating those two classes, making sure that a game or a project is sustainable, where more people come in, do have a way to do something and participate, is amazing. So anyway, just some words on the space on Axie Infinity. I think it's a great game. I think the future looks very bright for the blockchain gaming space as a whole. I think I didn't cover this investment article by, here we go. So Sky Mavis raises $7.5 million for NFT-based Axie Infinity game with backers like Mark Cuban. So they've well-funded as well. Again, funding is a big deal, because if you're well-funded, you can go on to build all this stuff. You can go on to release your own token and pay for lawyers and build a great game and get design like this done, test and all this sort of stuff. Run a team, right? That stuff is not cheap, and this is the difference between a game that's going to go on and give value to early investors and one that isn't. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in another video.